Thank you guys all for being here today. I really appreciate it, especially the international media, the time differences and everything. I appreciate all of your interest in this. Looking forward to TakeOver, NXT TakeOver in your house this weekend. In your house has become sort of this fun. Last year doing the first one and kind of being retro and getting to this year's, it's just a fun sort of old school flashback takeover or pay-per-view, depending on how you want to look at it, that I think allows us to have some fun while still giving you intense in-ring, bell-to-bell action. So, you know, this year being no different, we're thrilled to be joined again, once again by Todd Pettengill, bringing us sort of that retro history of in-your-house events and doing an amazing job doing it. So he'll be back with us this year. The card, once again, to me looks spectacular. You know, we have Mercedes Martinez, Xia Li, Xia's first takeover. As that character evolves, given all the restrictions and injuries and everything else over the last year, it's been amazing to see her evolution as a performer and somebody coming from China that at first, when we very first met, didn't even really fully understand what WWE was, to where she is now is an amazing transformation, and stepping into the ring with a true veteran in Mercedes Martinez, who just brings so much to the table in ring. We have, to me, one of the matches I'm looking forward to most on the night. One, because of the retro. Two, because I just think it's going to be spectacular. It's a ladder match with Ted Dibiase at ringside, the $1 Million Man, a ladder match to determine the new $1 Million champion between Cameron Grimes and LA Knight. LA Knight, who just, you know, for many people over the years has been not only a consistently great in-ring performer, but certainly a very standout talent on the microphone. And Cameron Grimes, who just in the last year and a half has just blossomed into just an amazing character, has always had the in-ring skills, has always bell to bell. You know, he does. It's funny, Ted DiBiase and I were talking about it a few weeks ago, and he really does, in some ways, bring Ted to what he was, which is this amazing in-ring performer, bell to bell, that then came and got a character that took him to a whole other level. And he can always get it done in the ring. So that's I think, going to be something special. The six-man tag, winner take all, Bronson Reed and MSK versus Legado del Fantasma. All people in that coming into their own. If you really look at it, a year and a half ago, all just kind of getting rolling and really stepping into their own and becoming top performers. That should be something special. Raquel Gonzalez, Ember Moon for the NXT Women's Championship. Ember, just since coming back from her injury, has just been on fire and reinvigorated herself, and that passion and fire is back in her eyes. And Raquel Gonzalez, who has, you know, when you think about it, just a year or so ago, stepping into NXT kind of for the first time and really just transforming herself into something special. That's going to be amazing. And then, of course, in the main event, Karrion Kross defends the NXT title against Kyle O'Reilly, Pete Dunne, Johnny Gargano, and Adam Cole in what has very quickly become a very heated match where you, to me, in my opinion, you sort of can't call it, and it's the kind of match that will be spectacular and will have your head turning on a swivel at all times. Really looking forward to it. So TakeOver looks on paper, certainly looks spectacular. The pre-show this year or this weekend will have Sam Roberts, because what would a pre-show be without Sam Roberts to irritate the world? And then we will be bringing in Arash Markazi, who will be appearing as a panelist, who brings a great point of view to me, and just as a fan, and bringing a sports point of view. And then, of course, we will be being joined by Sports Illustrated's Justin Barrasso. You know, this is one of the things I'm looking forward to, is hopefully opening this up a little bit across the board for some of you in the media to be a part of these pre-show panels and takeover pre-events to where we can have you be a part of the panel and bring your voice and your sort of point of view to these events, to our fans. And I think it's really something cool that we can open up doing, as long as Justin doesn't screw it up for all of you. So if it doesn't go well, all of you should feel free to call Justin directly with complaints and problems. So with that, I will open it up to questioning. And again, thank you all for being here.
All right, everybody, we'll keep it to one question per outlet, please. Thank you very much.
To ask your question, please press star followed by the digit 1. Question from Mike Johnson with P. Winsight.
Mike, we're back cooking with gas here.
All right, I'm real happy to be representing P. Winsider. How are you, Paul?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I actually wanted to ask you something about the vignettes that aired last night with Cameron Grimes and LA Knight, or Tuesday night, I should say, with Cameron Grimes and LA Knight. Those look like they were some of the old Jeremy Borash type of special productions. I especially cracked up at the little Dumb and Dumber homage in the Cameron Grimes part. I was wondering, what's the process of putting those together? Is it something the team produces and then they bring back to you? Are you hands-on with these things? And what's the balance you'd like between vignettes like that, since we're starting to see a little bit more of them for building characters, versus just doing everything primarily in-ring driven, because much more of NXT is more in-ring driven than the other brands. So just curious.
Yeah, look, I love having a balance of all of it. And I also don't like, to me, when you start to get into, well, this is what we do and this is how it is, then it becomes very formulaic, and then you're stuck there. I think there's opportunities to do all of it at various points. And it's funny, what's cool is you said it's like a Jeremy Borash special. So like Jeremy Borash specials are across the board in NXT. Just sometimes you don't realize maybe they're Jeremy Borash specials. I go back all the way to the Chien Shah stuff from the very beginning with the origin stories and everything else across the board. Big part of that, Jeremy, and creatively. We all work on it together. NXT is a very collaborative effort, right? And so we come up with ideas and concepts. We come up with ideas and concepts not only in and amongst the team, in and amongst the Borash team, in and amongst the talent themselves, and then we try to figure out what the best way to go about doing them and how do we want to execute them. I love those vignettes. They were a lot of fun. I think everybody had a lot of fun making them, apparently, except for Grimes, who apparently does not know how to smoke a cigar or have a drink, and literally they had to do that in one take because I think it almost killed him.
Well, hopefully better things for him this weekend, and I thank you for the time. Look forward to the show. Can't have enough Todd Pettengill as far as I'm concerned, so looking forward to that. Thanks for the time.
Thanks. Hopefully you still feel that way after the show.
We'll see.
And next I'll move to Vineet Rakamasharan with News 18.
Hello.
Hey, Paul. Hi. I'll just jump in straight in. I want to ask you about MSK and the incredible start they have had, undefeated as a team since their NXT TV debuts. Clearly, they are in the spotlight. So, what do you see in them to give them this kind of a push? And especially NXT's the Strongs would have always been tag teams, and they have been there at the forefront. So, just your thoughts on them, and there's always a comparison. You see shades of them in any particular, former WWE tag team duos in them.
Thank you for the question. I think the second part you were asking, are there other tag teams that I see in them that I see them being sort of like?
Right.
Is the question? Yeah. So.
Right. Yes.
Okay. So look, for me, MSK bring an energy and an excitement to the tag division that I really like. I just think they feel fresh and new and exciting, and they bring an energy and an excitement, and they're just there and get the crowd going. Now, so to me, in some way, it's your traditional babyface team that's exciting young and hip and all those things. As far as who they, comparisons to, I mean, I guess in some way you could compare them to other teams, the Rock and Roll Express maybe, or something like that, because they're that pure babyface tag team, the Midnight Rockers or something. It's so funny. Everybody always wants to compare people to others, and I don't like to do that. To me, while there might be a sort of a grouping that they fit in, I want them to be the first MSK, and I want them to do things that are original. It's one of the deals where I try to have a conversation with talent when they all first walk in the door about be you, bring you to the table, and don't try to emulate something you saw in the past. Don't try to be something you're not. Every performer, I did it, Sean did it, Hogan did it, Austin, Rock, you all try to bring something from somebody else. There's bits and pieces of things that you take from people along the way, and then you hopefully turn them into your own and make them yours and become the first you. And hopefully that's what MSK is doing. But I think they have an energy and an excitement that was needed, and I'm happy for them. I'm excited. The other thing is every little piece of opportunity that we gave them, they knocked out of the park. So when somebody does that, when they bring that drive and work ethic, I'm happy to go to bat for them and make and help them get the success that they're looking for.
Very good. Thank you for your time, Paul, and looking forward to the show.
Thank you, sir.
And next I'll move to Jason Powell with ProWrestling.net.
Hey, Paul, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. So a few of the challengers for the NXT title seem to be playing on some of the online criticisms of Karrion Kross. Do you feel like those are valid criticisms? And please just explain your strategy of having them take this approach, which seems to go against the usual philosophy of accentuating the positives and hiding the negatives.
Well, I mean, I think that if you were to me, it's more reality-based if you were to get into a confrontation with somebody, what would you bring up?
Sure.
Talk about their positives and how good of things that they do, and then, go from there? Or would you bring up some of that and then also bring up some of the things that are criticisms of them or holes in their game or weaknesses that you see? It's not necessarily criticism, really. Look, we put appropriate bells and whistles on everybody. You can say, it's a funny thing that the internet has made up terms like workhorse or stuff like that. It always makes me laugh when I hear somebody go, I'm a workhorse of the brand. Dude, everybody here works hard. Everybody. You just work different. You're not working any harder. You're not working you're not doing more days. You're not doing more this, more that. Everyone works hard. If they don't, they're not here long. Everybody brings a different strength to the table. So, yeah, some of that is fair criticism, and then some of that is playing to the strengths of a character and what they would say while, delivering something that is a oh my gosh moment. There were a lot of people that questioned that first interaction between Kross and Adam Cole as they both crossed the line. I'm not going to tell you that they didn't. I am going to tell you that the reaction that they got made it all okay. Right? So what are we really looking for in our business? I don't want to tear anybody down and weaken them as a character or as a performer, but that's all in where you go with it. You can tell Tyson Fury can call Deontay Wilder a one-punch knockout champion, and that's all he brings to the table, and he can't box. But if he KOs Tyson Fury in that fight, there you go. Right? Yeah, you're right. I am, and I just knocked you out. Right? There's going to be criticisms. There's going to be things that make them angry. But then are they right, or is it just talk? So to me, that's what makes it real and makes it feel spectacular, and blurs that line of, geez, were they all okay with what they just said? Because it didn't feel like they were. Now that you can you go too inside with that? Can you go too far with it? Yeah, it's a balance, right? It's a balance. And the truth is, if you want to be in this business, you probably shouldn't have thin skin anyway. Because I'll tell you, all you got to do is pick up your phone and your skin's gone. So that's what we work with, and I think that's the beauty of it when you can get to that point.
Thanks for the time.
Yeah, thank you.
Next, we'll move to Gary Cassidy with Inside the Rope.
Hi, Paul.
Hello.
Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, man, how are you?
Yeah, I'm great, thank you. So a lot of times on these kind of calls, I've asked you about the NXT women's division. I know yourself and Shawn Michaels very proudly say it's the best in the world. It's hard to argue with that. With that being said, bit of a double-edged one. Sasha Banks recently spoke about her vision for an all-women's show. Mickie James has announced an all-women's pay-per-view with NWA, and she said she wants the best women in the world, regardless of contractual status. Will we see any women from NXT appear in NWA this August, or has perchance an all-women's pay-per-view show been discussed in WWE at all?
Haven't we already done them?
Another one then.
It's a funny thing to me. I just don't. So equality is equality. Equality is not, I want my own show. Equality is not, we have to have our own program. If I told you that I was making an all-men's program and I didn't want women on it, it would be criticized. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I do think it's funny when people go, I want the best in the world regardless of contractual status. Well, I'm sorry, but from a business person standpoint, then why do we have contractual status? Right? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. If you want to wrestle the best women in the world, come to the WWE. That's where they are. If you want to go elsewhere and say that they are, that's an opinion, and you can. But it is what it is. And I, while I'm all for it, I was one of the biggest drivers of it. And will we do another all-women's event down the line? But possibly. But, it's not the must-have in the moment. I think we do an amazing job of displaying our female athletes. And is it perfect? No. Will it always be in flux? Yes. But I think we do a pretty good job. And my opinion, and again, my opinion, the best female performers in the world are in WWE, and then if they're not, they want to be.
Thank you.
And next, we move to Dave Meltzer with Wrestling Observer.
Hey, Paul,
Hey,
how
Dave.
you doing?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Good. One of the things that I've heard a lot when it comes to NXT is that, and I know this doesn't fall under your decision making, but it's a reality that a lot of people bring up, is that years ago, not that many years ago, but let's say 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you would watch NXT and you'd watch the top guys in NXT, and one of the lures, besides the moment of, okay, we're going to see this great takeover show, because they always are, is that at some point in a year or whatever, they're going to go to Raw or SmackDown, and they're going to be big stars, whether it was, Kevin Owens or McIntyre, who's obviously a huge success. And lately, it's when you watch the top guys in NXT, they're there, and they're there for years and years and years, and it doesn't feel like it's the same upward mobility. And then sometimes when they are brought up, it's, they're not Kevin Owens and McIntyre. I mean, I guess there hasn't been another one of that lately, and there's kind of that frustration that, we followed Johnny Gargano or Ciampa for years, and granted, there are exceptions to the rule because I'm sure that they're better off where they are, But the general consensus is we follow these guys for years and years, and they're not moving up. And then when they move up, they're misused, and it kind of takes this feel of it's not the same level of excitement that it was 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, so one way of looking at it is misuse. Another way of looking at it is things don't always pan out. Like, look, there are players that play in the NFL. There are players that play in college football, and people cannot wait for them to get to the NFL, and they get to the NFL, and it doesn't work. It just doesn't pan out. And you could say, well, the team misused them or mismanaged them, or the coach of the team they played for didn't put them in the right roles or do whatever. But there can be a million reasons. It can also be that sometimes talent don't fit in a particular place, or talent got to a particular place and then thought, I made it, and that was the end of their growth curve. Sometimes it just doesn't work. There's a lot of factors. As NXT has grown, one of the things that has changed about it is and look, there is a question there when you say, so what is NXT? Is it just strictly a developmental, where you're looking for everybody there to eventually move on, or is it its own brand? Is it its own organization, its own grouping? It'll be an interesting place of sort of the criticisms. A year or two in, 3 years in, 4 years in, that was a heavy knock on NXT. And I don't know if you remember it that way, but I do. For me, doing the interviews at that time, it was always said, how can I get into this brand whenever I get excited about a talent, they move on? It kills me for the brand, and I don't like it, and it was a heavy-duty criticism. That was for the first 3-4 years, and then that morphed into a different place where people got accustomed to that, and it switched. The brand changed again, and it's changed into a place where there are going to be some talent that will be in a position for a long time. They might not fit different places. They might not want to go different places. There are some talent that don't want to leave and to expand beyond, that they don't want to. Maybe the schedule doesn't work for them physically, whatever it is. So there's a lot of options there. It's a funny thing to me sometimes that in our business, everybody is so worried about where people are going to go or land, or how is this going to play out long term in the future. How about watch it? Do you like it, or do you not like it? Do you like it, and do you like it? Do you have to say, well, I like it, but I like this other thing more, or I like it, but I don't like it as much as I like that one? Like, it's watch it or don't, and stop trying to figure out where everything goes. Fans ruin their own stuff half the time, trying to figure out where everything goes and why it's going there and how, and then trying to pick up their phone and go search for the thing to find out what it is that can ruin it for them, so they're not surprised when it happens. Like, I don't understand that. I'm thrilled with what the brand is. I'm happy with where it is. Do I want it to get better? Yes. Do I want it to grow? Yes. Do I want it to expand? Yes. Again, people will take this line, use it out of context, and joke. It's a marathon, not a sprint. I'm not here to make a brand that's around for a few years or a few minutes, or, I want it to be long-term. And how's it going to be long-term? It's going to morph and evolve. It shouldn't be the same. If it's the same 3 years from now or 4 years from now as it is right now, we made a mistake. It's just like people. You grow. If you're the same person 4 years from now, you didn't grow.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And I love that Justin Barrasso line, by the way. That was pretty funny.
Feel free to call.
And next, we'll move to Alistair McGeorge with Metro.
Hey, Paul. How's it going?
Alistair.
Hi. I want to kind of ask about Ted Dibiase's involvement. So first of all, how did that all come about for you? And also, how hands-on has he been with the younger talent behind the scenes while he's been at the shows?
Look, you can't have somebody like Ted Dibiase be around and be at your shows without young talent going over to him and picking his brain and him interjecting and helping them learn. It's a wonderful part of having somebody like him around. Now, look, not everybody in that generation comes around and is helpful or whatever. Some want to be, some don't. Right? Ted's of a mindset that he just wants to help and he wants to give information, and he's there. If talent want to talk to him, he'll talk to him all day and answer questions and do stuff. So it's awesome having him around. I love it. The talent love it. And I can tell you one of my favorite things just recently has been this week when we revealed the $1 million title. As they brought the case out for the first time in the afternoon as we were going to practice putting it on a podium, and they opened it for the first time, and there was a pile of talent that were around. How many people, I'm not really sure, but they were all over the building. And the reaction to everybody of seeing the $1 million title was awesome. Just, it's one of those things where, like, there was one original title, and it didn't get redone. It didn't get booted or remakes. There was some replicas that were sold or whatever, but not the real deal. And when you have the real deal there, and everybody just came over and was looking at it and was in awe of it, and it was a really cool reaction. It's just the power of the brand over the years of that, and things like that. Those moments like the $1 million title. It's also things why I think like the Quest, the memorabilia show did so well, and was such a big hit. It brings people back to a time in their life and their history, and it's special to them. And so for a lot of those talents, seeing that in person was quite a moment. It was cool to see.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks for your time, man.
And next we'll move to John Alba with Spectrum News 13.
Paul, how are you today? Hope everything's going well on your end.
Good, John. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I wanted to ask about NXT TakeOver SummerSlam weekend. SummerSlam, typically a big destination pay-per-view. Obviously, you guys are getting back full touring here, going to Las Vegas on a Saturday. Reports indicating that the TakeOver would be then the Sunday in Orlando. I want to know if you could comment on that and if that's a format that you guys plan on continuing with holding more big events in Orlando despite WWE's other shows hitting the road.
It shows a little bit of a work in progress as far as where that show lands and how, as far as the SummerSlam weekend TakeOver. We're in a unique time coming out of the pandemic and getting back on the road and doing live events and, SummerSlam going to Vegas in a stadium, and hopefully we'll have a full house, and it should be awesome. But it's a unique time, and a lot of it is sort of, as everybody is trying to feel things out. So there's a little bit of an ebb and flow right now of where things exactly will land. But I can tell you this, for WWE, for our staff, our crew, all of us, here behind the scenes, but especially for our talent, we cannot wait to get back in front of crowds and full arenas and excited fans. It's the lifeblood of what we do. And, never having thought we'd experience it, once you go through having no fans, it makes you realize that they're everything we do. And I think we cannot wait to get back in front of them and show them what WWE really does again. And, but it'll be an evolving process as we get into the summer months and into the fall.
Great. Thank you very much.
And we'll move on to Vincent Shardak with DL Media.
Hey, Vincent.
Hi, Paul. How are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
I'm good too, thanks. My question will be about the $1 million championship. It will be a great ladder match at TakeOver between Cameron Grimes and LA Knight. I can't wait for it. And my question is, do you have any idea of how the title will be used on NXT? And will it be defended on live TV? What's the plan with the title?
Well, I can tell you what the plan is right now is that on Sunday at In Your House, we're going to find out who the new $1 million champion is. From there, we'll see. But, yeah, there'll be a new $1 million champion crowned. And as Ted DiBiase said, that's quite a legacy to uphold. There's only been 4 people that have ever held that title. Ted, Virgil, Ted's son, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's a pretty strong grouping. So, you know, the person that's to walk away with this on Sunday, it's a big moment. And I can tell you, I just talked a minute ago about talent seeing the $1 million title for the first time. Both Grimes and LA Knight, seeing that title, it was funny. The whole thing, even for me watching it when it was happening live on television, there was a moment in the ring when Ted opened it up and I could see both of them sort of, you know, when you're around talent so much, you get to know them very well, and I could see both of them come out of character just for a moment to think like, holy cow, I'm in the ring with the $1 million man, Ted DiBiase, and he is holding the $1 million title, and I'm, you know, about to go into a match for that. Like, I would have never dreamed that in my wildest dreams. So it's a very cool moment. I think fans are excited about it, as I am.
I wish you all the best for TakeOver. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Vincent.
Okay, the next question will be our final one for the day.
And our final question will come from Connor Casey with comicbook.com.
Hey, Paul, thanks for doing this today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
Just wanted to ask about with WWE going back on the road. Do you guys plan on being back in Full Sail anytime soon?
So for right now, the Capitol Center is our home, and you know, I want to stress that our partnership with Full Sail is still very strong. We love that partnership. I'm looking forward to having students as they open back up as a campus and get students back. They've been open because of online, but getting students back in place and really beginning to be hands-on again. Really looking forward to picking up that interaction with the students. NXT for me is, in some ways, it's like this youth factory, and I always say, like, going in there is like the fountain of youth, and that, to me, that's a part of Full Sail is a big part of that. So whenever we have these young up-and-coming talent, whether in-ring talent, behind-the-scenes talent, cameras, sound, lighting, live event production, whatever it is, it's invigorating, and Full Sail is a large part of that. So our partnership is still very strong. I love what we do with them, and I look forward to it continuing and growing. For right now, our home is the Capitol Center. We'll see where that goes, and you know, but we're obviously with Full Sail and that team. We're open to any and all ideas, as we always are, and we work together a lot. So it's a very strong partnership.
Awesome, thank you, and good luck on Sunday.
Thank you, Connor.
All right, folks, that'll wrap up today's conference call. Thank you very much. We'll turn it back over to Paul for some closing comments.
Hey, thank you, guys. I also wanted to mention that I believe a lot of you have already submitted questions, but I just want to remind everybody that there'll be an NXT press conference with talent streaming this Saturday at 11 a.m. across many WWE platforms. So thank you for participating in that in advance, and the questions, it worked very well last time. I look forward to doing it again. Talent enjoyed it. I think the media enjoyed it. So that will be something exciting. And thank you all for being here today. I look forward to it. I will speak to a lot of you after the event, I am sure. And thank you for your support today, and I look forward to talking to you later. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you Sunday night.